Hey everyone, welcome once again to Vicious Chats. Tim Vicious with me today. He is a digital marketer. He's well known around in the LA area. Please give it up for Leo Kim. Dude, how are you, man?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Tim? It's a pleasure to be
I'm
here.
it's glad to have you here, man. I always tell everyone, I'm open to talking to everyone. Thank you for helping show that because for a while everyone just kind of thought like this is going to be like just a wrestling show and like nah, I'm cool with everyone really, you
Well,
know.
it looks like you got a belt behind you.
That one's actually it's a toy prop one. It was from
Ah,
a costume I did. What was it? About 10 something years ago. It was one I did about 10 years ago. I went to Toys R Us, I bought it and I was just like, okay, yeah, I needed that for a Halloween costume.
I might have had one of those as a kid too.
Oh yeah, I had a couple of those as a kid. Now, actually, my son, he got this for me when the Toys R Us up here was closing a couple years ago. Try not to knock anything over in the process. He went out of his way to intentionally get me this, the replica
Oh, that's
world
pretty
title
sweet. Nice.
out of Toys R Us, and he was quite adamant with with the people in there saying, "Listen, I have to get this for my dad." So he hunted in that store like you wouldn't believe to go and look for that thing.
That's crazy. Well, it looks pretty amazing. So
Well, yeah, I
looks
mean,
like a
for a
belt.
replica, it's nice. It's a good sturdy like imitation leather and the plastic, and it's a good hard plastic compared to what the real titles are.
Yeah. Well, it
Yeah.
looks good. It's a solid
Oh, thank
piece.
you. Thank you. I try to
Cool.
have the little studio here have a nice vibe. You got a good chill vibe yourself there, man. Definitely dig
That's
the
all right.
area.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So I know, like I said, you do like digital marketing, you do like TED Talks and such, like man. So for those who may not be educated in that sense, like how exactly does like digital marketing go? And if you need to use an example, feel free to use me.
Sure. So let's say you got a wrestling company, for example, right? And let's say you sell replica belts. What you want to do is you want people to know that this replica belt exists. So you have to do a few different things. You have to one, let people know that the replica belt exists. Two, you have to let people know that they could go and purchase the belt. And three, you have to let people know that you have the belt for purchase, right? So, in order to do that, some people may already know a replica belt exists, so they could go out there and search for this by doing specific terms on like Google and so forth. Type in like WWE belt, wrestling belt, whatever it may be, to go and locate all the different ones. Then you'll see a plethora of different ones, and you can kind of pick and choose which one you want to go out there and get. Now, some people might not even know these belts exist at all. Like they're like, "What's a WWE belt?" So that's part of the marketing as well, where you're like, "Oh, look, there's a WWE belt. It resembles wrestling. It resembles this. It resembles that. This is why you need to go and get one." So there's a few aspects to it. One is identifying what people want. Two is going out there and showing people that there's something out there that they could potentially want. And three is going out there and purchasing it. So in that whole process, what you have is you probably have different competitors out there, right? So it's not just one company making the WWE belt unless you just have one person who's a licensor. You probably maybe have three, four, or five companies. Or in the real world, like let's say you're a general contractor, you might have hundreds or thousands of people in your general area that you're competing against. So what you have to do is you have to figure out how to make it so that more people come to you versus anyone else.
Okay, so kind of like almost a hey, they're good, but have you bothered to try and take a look at me? I'm right
Yeah.
here, I can do this. I can do this just as good as these guys, if not better, kind of deal.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you look at cars, for example, there's Honda, there's Acura, there's Toyota, there's Lexus, there's Mercedes, there's BMW, there's Chevy, there's Ford, and so forth. Everyone's like, hey, look how great my car is. And then when it comes to the buyer's choice, they have to go and figure out which one of these that they want. So there's one layer of competition right there for the marketing where you're like, okay, which vehicle am I going to gravitate towards purchasing? Then if you kind of go to the local level, let's say there's Manhattan Beach, let's say there's Los Angeles, let's say there's North Hollywood. Now you gotta figure out which of these dealerships you gotta buy it from. Are you gonna buy it from one of the dealerships? Are you gonna buy it from Carvana? Are you gonna buy it from CarMax? What place is doing their marketing better to figure out how they're gonna earn your business as well?
Okay, I get that now. So yeah, dude, I give you mad credit because you just broke that down way simpler than my business economics teacher could have did when I was in college. Because I needed them to explain it like 3 times for me to get it to just get a rough understanding.
Yeah, I mean, it's how do you get people to buy from you or see you? That's basically it.
Yeah, yeah, right there. Because what's it? I've had a couple people that I know. I've been doing like a little YouTube show for about 10 plus years now.
Yeah.
And they all and I've had a couple people like, dude, you've been at this game for a while now, right? Yeah. So what's your secret to it? I'm like, it's no big secret. I just have the mindset of, I can have the best product in the world. Nobody's gonna know I have it unless I put myself out there. And, as much as I hate having my face glued to my phone as much as I do, I gotta.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you kind of think about it, like not everyone reads the newspaper, but then at some point in time, some people who are buying a car are reading that newspaper. Let's say you have a picture of your car in there talking about your dealership or something, then you could potentially end up going there. Now, not everyone's online on YouTube, not everyone's on Facebook, not everyone's everywhere, but if you're in that place talking about your thing, they could see it and potentially buy from you. So, yeah.
Yeah. So has there been a particular client that you came across that, and I'm not asking you to like throw anyone under the bus or speak ill of them, but have you ever had one where you were like, yeah, I'm not quite sure, but they turned out to be like a big hit, or one that you were like chomping at the bit to get to, and then you were just like, oh man, that did not go well?
Well, I mean, like you can tell like what good marketing looks like if you've been doing it for a long time and what bad marketing looks like. And when I see bad marketing and someone wants to come to me, my natural instinct's like, oh my God, this is so much work. It's going to be a nightmare to go out there, clean all this mess up and fix it and so forth. But then what I've kind of realized is, I mean, I have that internal hesitation where I'm like, oh, this is really overwhelming to do. But then let's say I do take on the project, I could make these tiny changes that are like incremental, that are like most people would think would barely move the needle, and they'll be like, "Oh my God, I just got the first call ever from my website." I'm like, "Oh great, I didn't even do that much. Like I spent like maybe 30 minutes or an hour doing this tweak." So I mean, it kind of has its benefits because when the thing's so bad, the results that you get for the person are like so fast because it's like a few small changes make like dramatic results in those types of situations. Whereas a more leveraged company, they may have potentially exhausted everything that they're doing, and then finding a new creative channel is kind of difficult. And while plausible, or while possible, sometimes it's not always plausible. So it's always a hit or miss because, like, let's say there's a company out there already doing like $20 million a year, and they're building homes all across Los Angeles, for example. Taking that company from 20 to 30 million is doable, but then they might want to stick in the same budget. They might not want to try new things. They might have already tried and exhausted everything else. Whereas the one with the more rough marketing around the edges, like small things really push the needle with that.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I get that. Yeah, because one thing, because trying to think the right way to say this. I was talking to my brother about this earlier. Me and my brother, we brotherly competition with each other with weightlifting. Like, yeah, I did X amount on the weights this week. Yeah, well, I do the X amount this week. Well, my arm's this big, my arm's that big. We do things like that, and we both look into like different kind of supplements and such. And like, I wonder if that company actually put their name out there in this magazine or on that site, they'd probably get their name recognized more.
Yeah. Like if you kind of look at Amazon, you see a lot of different companies that you may never have heard of, but maybe if you're one of the types of people who wants to go out and try 20, 30 different products, you might have found the one that's like really, really good compared to everyone else. And no one knows about it because that company just doesn't really know how to go out there and fulfill their marketing properly to go and back their product. Now, on the other hand, you see some companies out there hyping things up and pretending to be the best thing out there. But when you try it, you're like, oh, this thing really sucks. So marketing could draw the attention of a lot of people. You also have to kind of factor in how good that product actually is to have people stick around. But also at the same time, there's some people who can't tell if something sucks or if something's good, and they don't know what the difference is. So that marketing alone could build up a client base from that.
Have you ever come across a client or a product that you were tasked to work on that you were like, okay, well, can I vet this and give it a try first before I say yes or no?
Usually I would do that in most situations to see if something's legit or not. There have been some instances where like the product's just not really up to par. Where I'm like, what am I really going to do with it? Because then you have to really think about what's the way to go out there and market something if it's not really up to par. What you have to do, you have to make stuff up. You have to go out there and lie. That's not really what I'm about, and I don't think a lot of people are really about that. It's true, some people may have a lower set of ethics and standards, and they might take on a project like that. But for me, like I really want to make sure that something's working. Like if it's a health product, for example, is it organic? Is it good? Does it have low or no sugar content? Is it not disguising it like sugar alcohols and saying there's zero sugar when there really is sugar alcohol, which is an alcohol? Like that stuff kind of really matters, right? So it's really about how to go out there and see what's actually good and what's not. I mean, if the product is like good or somewhat good or okay, but it's not sketchy, then sure, I can figure something out with that. But if it's just something sketchy and just not good, it's really hard to kind of get the motivation to go out there and promote it. Like I'll give you an example. Have you ever heard of like Kratom?
Kratom? Yeah.
Like I hear that stuff's like highly addictive and all this other stuff, right? And I'm like, someone gave me an opportunity to potentially go and market that. I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, if it's that addictive, I could potentially be ruining a lot of people's lives. I don't really want to go and market something like that. That's just me personally.
No, I totally get that. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Especially, again, circling back to wrestling stuff. A wrestler that a lot of people liked passed away recently, and there was stories going around saying that he was on kratom, and I'm just like, and I don't know anything here or there about it, whether it's real or if it's just misheard information or whatever. But it's like, ooh, whoa.
All I know is that it's allegedly a highly addictive substance, and like gas station pills are also highly addictive substances, like the honey and things like that. Like I don't want to go and promote things that are highly addictive. Like that's not a good. I wouldn't really feel that good about that.
Yeah, I don't blame you on that. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
if like Marlboro came up to me and said, "Hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars if you'll wear our hat," like, no, dude, no, I don't care. I wouldn't do
I
that.
mean,
I don't blame you,
your
man.
clothes are kind of cool, so I might wear them. So
Well,
they do
my
have
dad,
pretty cool
well,
clothes.
showing my age here, I don't know if you remember, but back in the 90s, Marlboro used to do this thing called the Marlboro Miles, where you would save the
Yeah,
side of it. And if you get
and
X
then you got
amount,
that
kind of like the
jacket.
whole Pepsi Point thing.
Yeah, that
Yeah, my
jacket's so
dad used to
cool.
collect them, and he would send out for the Marlboro stuff from their catalog. He had a reversible windbreaker, and he still has
Oh, wow.
a suitcase that's like as long that goes from that's like 4.5 feet wide.
It's amazing. I want to see his stuff.
Oh yeah. Well, the windbreaker got lost in the echoes of time, unfortunately. But it might take a little digging, but I think I could dig out that suitcase, that travel
That'd be pretty
bag.
cool. I
Yeah,
want to see
but
that stuff.
has
If you
there
can
ever
find
been
it, give me some pictures. I want to see.
has there ever been anything that you came across? Has there ever been anything that you can point your finger at and say, "Yeah, you know what? That was me. That one was all me," and like just kind of have like a proud chest puffed out kind of moment?
Well, I worked at this company called Advisor Check, and when I first started working there, the first 2 months, the website was getting like 100 visitors a month, right? Which is not really that much compared to where it's at today, with over 200 or 2 million organic search engine clicks from Google in the period of 2 years. So yeah.
Yeah, for those that are for those that are just listening right now, like I just went big deer in the headlight, bug-eyed, like going from 100 a month to like 2 million.
Yeah, 2 million total in the course of like 24 months, which is kind of crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that is yeah, that's a little bit of a hashtag humble brag right there for you. Yeah, that
I guess
I don't
so.
blame. Yeah, that's definitely a hashtag humble brag moment for you. Like, yeah, I jumped that website up. Yeah, no big.
I don't know how humble that was, but okay.
Well, like I said, it's a humble brag.
Yeah.
It's a humble brag. You know, you could do like Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. Humility. I get that. I too am extremely humble.
That guy's funny.
I make a lot of I make jokes. My brain is really out there. I think weird.
Yeah, no worries. It's cool.
So when you do your TED Talks, when you've done TED Talks, what kind of stuff have you gone over?
So in my TED talk over at the UC Irvine, what I did is I covered why you should let your fears guide you. Because what I kind of figured out as time has gone by is you ever have those moments where you're like, oh my God, I'm so scared. I don't know if I should do it or not. Have you
Oh
ever been
yeah,
in a situation like that? Like, usually if
yeah,
you do
FOMO
it, good
moment.
things happen. But then if you don't do it, nothing happens. So,
Yeah, it's.
you,
I explained it to my son in that kind of a way of like it's a FOMO, fear of missing out. Like,
yeah.
dude, give it a shot. Best case, you get what you're aiming for. Worst
Mhm.
case, you're in the same spot you're in. And what have you got to lose in that sense?
Yeah, so when you really think about it, when you have this fear, you fabricate all these worst case scenarios in your head, and those worst case scenarios could potentially become a reality for maybe 0.001% of the time. But for the other 99.9999% of the time, something more amazing comes out of it. So usually, if you just go out there and take action and do something, you could use your fear as an indicator that you're onto something great, as opposed to something that's really holding you back from something. So if you're scared, that means you care about it. That means it means something to you. That means it could have an impact on others. Because if you're feeling that vulnerability in that moment, that means whatever you're thinking of doing, other people would probably feel that same type of fear or just went through similar situations. And they could really relate if you go and follow through with it, which could help you build more connections with others as well. So it's pretty cool
That's
stuff.
awesome, man. Because I'll tell you right now, when I first came up with the idea to do this show about a year or so back, I was scared out my mind. Like,
Right?
okay, how do I do this? What am I going to be? What's the format going to be like? And then it was just a million different things flooded in my head at once. And I was just like, okay, stop for a minute, take a minute to think. And then it was just, yeah, I can do this. I can pull that trigger. Just got to get everything
Right.
situated first.
Yeah. It's kind of difficult at the beginning though because all that self talk, all that unknown, all that confusion, it leads a lot of people to just kind of shut down. And if they could just put the blinders on and just move forward, good things happen.
Yeah, yeah, because again, it's like what I tell my son, like, work, give it a shot. If you like it, great. If not, worst case, you're in the same boat you're in now, right?
Yeah, like I
And a
guess
lot
an
of times I
example.
kind of feel like it feels like, and this is just me speaking from the outside, and my knowledge of business goes from taking business classes in school and watching CNBC, right?
That's all you need.
Yeah, pretty much. But my sense of that's where my sense of business knowledge comes from. But it seems like a lot of the times it's a lot of businesses are almost kind of like afraid to step out of their comfort zone. Like, okay, we know easy money is right here, and they're afraid to step out to try and experiment to see if this or that'll work.
Yeah, a lot of companies are scared to do that, and a lot of companies are pretty stuffy in their messaging as well. Where if they would just relax a little bit, they would see a lot more business coming too. But then they're just too scared to kind of take that effort to make that leap. And I guess you could kind of tie it into like human psychology overall, because just to give you an example, I had a call with my nutritionist maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and aside from eating oatmeal, whatever legumes are, and berries and other stuff, and nuts like almonds, she said that I should go out there and eat sardines. And I've never eaten a sardine before, and they've always been in these tin cans. And you see everyone go, "Ew, sardines! Ew, sardines!" It's
Yeah,
like,
you
oh my
see that
god,
old
what am I?
cartoon typecast of you open it up and you see the smell waves pop in the air.
Yeah, and then you're like, "Oh, I can't eat this. This is gonna be horrible. There's no way." Then like even like opening the can, like I'm like, what am I doing? This is the hardest thing. I don't want to do this. Like, and then I actually try it. I'm like, no, it just tastes like regular fish. Like, what's the big deal behind all this stuff? Like, it wasn't really even that bad. My cat's like eating like half of it because she's like, oh my god, this is like the best thing ever for me. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess like I'm like, isn't there like other types of fish they can recommend and all this other stuff? I'm like, it really wasn't that bad. Now it's not good enough where I'm gonna eat it every day, but I
Yeah,
mean I'll put it into my diet once a week, and it has a lot of health benefits. But then there's that natural fear, right? Like I didn't want to do it. I'm 40 now, so there's 40 years of my life I'm saying no to sardines. But then I'm eating it, and I guess it does something good for my health. But to take that leap, like if a person has 40 years before they make that decision to do it, imagine how hard it is for a company that's got like 100 people, 50 people, 5,000 people, 10,000 people. Like, we all need to make this decision to make this leap. But then there's this category that needs. Like, I gotta open it. I don't want to open it.
yeah, I get that, man. I get that. I just turned 40 myself back in April, so
Happy
and now
birthday.
I'm just there. Are some days I'll just sit there thinking like, you know, I've always been kind of iffy about wanting to do this or that. I'm getting up there now. I kind of want to do it, which led to me about a year ago. I finally decided to pull a trigger. I've always wanted to get this tattooed on my hand, and I got my hand tattooed.
Nice.
Let me fix my hand the right way. It's a little old guy hunched over. I've been making that doodle since I was like 16.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's kind of
That's
like
neat.
my unofficial corporate logo, as my mom calls it. My
Nice.
mom calls it my corporate logo.
May as well put it on your podcast. Stick it everywhere.
You know, I gotta figure out on how to trademark logos. I gotta figure out on how to trademark symbols because trust me, I've been making that since I was 16. Once I get that settled, dude, I'm a plaster that on everything.
I think you just upload your picture somewhere, pay a fee, then you get a trademark. Just do a Google search or ask AI. It'll tell you what to do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably I should probably do that. You
yeah,
know,
why not? May as well.
yeah. So when you're working with clients, like how is it? How's the basic meetings go with clients? Do they just come to you saying, "Hey, I got like," and I'll pluck a random example out of the air. Like if I came up to you and said, "Hey, I got these action figures. I make them, I sell them, I put it on this, and this kind of website, and I also talk to this and this local store. Is there any way you can help put the word out for me to make more people notice me?"
So in a situation like that where someone's got a retail outlet and they got different products, what you kind of want to do is you have various areas, right? You have your local audience in the area that you want to make aware of these figures. So what you kind of got to do is you have to build out your like Google listings and everything to show all the different things that you're offering. You also have to put these things onto your website so people are able to identify them online. Then you can also use social media to go out there and talk about these figures, show them in action, show whatever features and benefits that they have, maybe play with them a bit. So then they could start to get out there. And one of the interesting things for digital media in general is with advertising features, you could target by zip code, you could target by city, you could target by county, state. So if you really want to get this thing noticed, what you could do is you could allocate some money and then you could put, oh, look, we got this new toy in the store. Come and check it out. Or you could put like maybe different products in there. You could maybe make maybe like a 15, 30-second video and put like 10 or 20 different products in there so they could see a different lineup and start talking about how that's there. So more web traffic could come, or more foot traffic could come into your doors.
Okay. Okay, yeah. That makes sense, man. I get that,
Yeah.
because, I see a lot because I watch shows with my son, and a
Yeah.
lot of times, and I learned this when I was in school doing sociology, my teacher, he would make us watch a show and then take notes about what commercials are on, and you learn on what the target audience for a show is based on the
Yeah.
commercials. And watching the stuff with him, because he's a basketball junkie. He absolutely loves basketball, and he's got his teams, but whatever game is available, he's like, "Nah, I'm gonna put my butt down and watch it." And
Yeah.
I'll sit there with him, and I'm watching, and I'm like, aside from the Nike stuff and athletic stuff, seeing what's on there, I'm like, huh. So that's their target. That's who they're aiming for. Okay.
Yeah. Also, if you kind of think back to that time, like imagine you saw like a Transformers or GI Joe commercial or something like that. It would tell you where to go and buy it in that commercial too. It would say like, go get it at Target, go get it at Toys R Us or something like that. So then you could kind of know where to go out there and get that. So that same concept kind of works where if you have a local business as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I miss when commercials would be able to do something like that, saying, pick this up today at so and so. But now it just seems like brick and mortars are slowly going the way of the dodo.
Yeah, they are. I mean, if you really think about it, Target could potentially do that because you could potentially buy the toy at Target, but Target isn't doing that.
Yeah, although
Walmart
I
could do it
go
too.
I've hopped into Target to do some figure hunting, because I do toy hunting with my son and
Yeah.
my nephews sometimes. We'll go in there, we'll do some toy hunting, and like, okay, let's see that there. And just
Yeah.
random things like that.
Well, I mean, Target's got like the Hot Wheels, they got the Funkos, they got the Disney toys, they got a lot of different things in there. So they could theoretically go out there and do this like they did in those old school Toys R Us commercials, but I really don't know what's stopping them. They could really do it, or even like Mattel or whoever's making the toys could be doing them too, to drive more
Yeah,
traffic to get more people to buy them.
yeah,
But you don't see it.
or another example, it just popped in my head. It was about maybe 10-ish years ago. WWE, they had a deal with Kmart, showing age here, folks. They had a deal with Kmart where they would show like this kid running around the aisles acting like a wrestler, and then finding the wrestling figures, and then just being like, "Gah!" you know and then doing the pose for it with finding it.
Nice.
And
Yeah,
then
they need to
say,
bring those
get
commercials
this.
back.
Yeah, I would freaking love to see that kind of stuff, and not, one part nostalgia, another part really different kind of clever
Mhm.
marketing. Because
Yeah, that.
I've always been interested in seeing on how people go and push and plug and promote things. Like, one of, I think it was clever but stupid at the same time, was back in the late 2000s with Aqua Teen Hunger Force, the show on
Oh,
Adult Swim. I don't remember
yeah,
know if you remember this,
yeah.
but in Boston, they had a street team put light brights up of the characters, and they looked like these little 8-bit guys off of like a Nintendo or an Atari. And people were
That's
calling
cool.
scared because they thought it was like a bomb ticking.
What?
Yeah,
That's
no lie.
crazy.
Yeah, after the show, no lie, you could look it up. Aqua Teen Hunger Force bomb scare in Boston. I don't know on how it was phrased, but they had a street team put up little light brights of the characters, and people were calling legitimately afraid, thinking it was like a bomb. And this was in
Crazy.
like somewhere around '07 to 10, somewhere around like 2005 to 2010-ish.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I mean, on one hand, I thought, man, after I saw that, I was like, if it didn't go that way, that would have been freaking clever, because if you knew, you knew.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know?
You gotta know to know, right?
Yeah. It's one of those things. If you know, you know. Like,
Yeah.
and man, that would have been so smart. I thought that would have been clever.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to, even in the TV world, get that same type of quality that you used to get from like Aqua Teen and Hunger Force. I mean, Archer was good for a while, but if you kind of look at the new TV shows and the new cartoons, I mean, they kind of try to be that good, but they're not as good as what the classics were.
Yeah, and part of me chalks that up to with the way shows are viewed now, with the way the television product is viewed nowadays. It's you talking about things going the way of the dodo, cable television itself. The only
Yeah.
thing keeping cable alive, honestly, is what is is news and sport, live news and sports. Otherwise, 90 good percentage of channels, streaming platforms have the same movies, have the same shows outside of exclusives.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about during the pandemic, Disney Plus like was releasing their movies at the same time that they were in theaters. Like you
Yeah,
don't really have to go anywhere
and
anymore or
HBO
have
Max was
anything.
doing HBO Max when everything went on lockdown. They just said, "All right, this movie was supposed to go in the theater on March 16th. Well, guess what? March 16th, Mortal Kombat's going to be available to stream on HBO Max."
That's
They
pretty
would do
cool.
things like that. They did things like that. And now it's to where, and now we're at the point now, if a movie hits theaters, all you have to do is just wait like a month and a half, 2 months, and then you can rent it on Vudu or something.
Yeah, that's true. And then it's really. Oh, did you see Snow White? They tried to release it, they released it again, and it bombed both times they released it.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just like, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They
Just,
tried
oh.
again, thinking it would do something different. It did the same thing.
They should have talked to you. They should have talked to you to be like, hey, look, can you help us?
Yeah.
They should have talked to you, man.
Maybe.
You could have been like, no, 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 listen, listen, listen. We got to play to our strengths. And right now, this is not your strength. This is what you need to do instead.
Let's pull another movie out of the library. Let's just maybe they should have what they could have done is they could have took the old classic Snow White and replaced it with like instead of the new one, like they replaced it with the classic one and say, we're sorry for releasing the old one. Here's the classic one that's in theaters now. Maybe that could have worked.
I still think the biggest flaw they may have had was trying to have Gail Gadot as the evil, wicked stepmother, as the evil, wicked witch. Like, okay, wait. You're telling me Gail Gadot, who is arguably, and according to multiple magazines, one of the most attractive women in the world, is jealous of Snow White's looks?
I mean, she's also Wonder Woman too, right? Like, how is Wonder
Yeah, she
Woman supposed to
was.
be jealous of someone,
And
right?
this is what that's where I'm getting at. Like, how can she it but am I missing
like
something?
you could find someone that doesn't look like Gal Gadot to play that role.
Yeah. I know, it's
It'd
like
probably be a lot cheaper too.
okay, yeah, one of these things is not like the other here, folks.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that are hard but possible to believe in life. That's not one of them.
No, it's not, unfortunately. Like I said, multiple magazines have said she is one of the most attractive women in the world, and many people out there are not going to make an argument otherwise. And you're saying she is supposed to be the wicked witch that is jealous of Snow White's youth and looks. Like, yeah, I'm not buying that.
I don't know. Like it's kind of hard to really buy, and I think what's kind of happened in the movie industry overall is they decided let's just try new characters for everything, and just sometimes it works out, but sometimes you get a wicked witch who's too hot.
Right? Because what was it? They did a action version of Snow White a couple years before that. What was it? Snow White and the Huntsman. They had Charlize Theron as the
Oh,
Wicked Witch.
yeah, I think I watched that. I don't think that was that bad.
Yeah.
I think that was
Oh no,
alright.
I remember that
Yeah.
one because I had
Yeah.
girl I was dating at the time. I took her to go see that, and she was like, "What'd you think of the movie?" "Oh, it was good, but why are we having Shirley? Why you got Charlize Theron being jealous of Kristen Bell's looks? What, like, really?"
Yeah. It's hard.
And I mean, she's just looking over at Chris Hemsworth the whole time, like, "Oh yeah, it's just another guy." Like, where I guarantee most girls were looking at him like, with their jaw hitting the
Yeah.
floor. And that was right
Maybe
after
that's what
Thor
they
hit
should
him.
have done.
Yeah,
They should have brought him in the movie.
probably would have
Yeah,
put more
fix it
butts in
up.
seats.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so man, I'm glad to take the time that you took the time to come out here for this. I do appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on, helping explain on this kind of stuff. And got to have a couple laughs. I say this with everyone, you're always more than welcome to come back at any time, you know?
I appreciate that, Tim.
Yeah, so any socials, anything you're working on, anything you want to put out there for the people to see, by all means, floor is yours.
I mean, on Twitter, I'm at Mr. Leonard Kim. My website's leonardkim.com. You can check it out. I don't really know what else to go out there and promote. If you need help with marketing, you're having difficulty getting something out there, you can always feel free to go on my website, fill out a contact form, tell me what you're having problems with. We can talk about it, see if we can do something, fix it. Yeah.
All right, that's awesome, man. Hope for absolutely nothing but the best for you on here with that, man. I try to have this
Appreciate
show
it.
be like the small little positive corner of the internet. Have a couple laughs, have some fun, and got to have a good sit down and sit under a learning tree with this episode. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Anytime, Tim. Appreciate you having me.
I'm definitely going to catch up again sometime soon, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, anytime. Enjoy.